Alright guys, TacticalRab back again today. Hope you're all doing well and enjoying your day so far. With Formal announcing his retirement several weeks ago now from OpTic Chicago going into this upcoming season. A tribute came out from the CDL yesterday with Scump and some other pro players giving a very well fitting tribute to be honest, but also some very interesting insight from behind the scenes. Very much intrigued to your thoughts in the comment section below. Like if you guys enjoyed the video, subscribe if you're new as always, I would greatly appreciate it. I'm really up to the channel. Thank you very much indeed for doing that. It is free after all. ILLey, as is tradition at this point, adding Formal and Dashy in a tweet right here you can see just coming out from yesterday. You know, we don't know how long it's going to be until anything might get confirmed, but we'd imagine it's happening at some point or another. Firstly, this from Loony. Finally, we get some hints of some confirmations coming on the Rostermania side of things. So, saying it's official, maybe contract's going to be signed. Of course, we saw Loony a while ago now say that yes, of course, he stepped down from competing at the end of the season, decided to retire from it, which is understandable, right? He did play on Seattle Surge right at the start of the year, but I think a lot of people predicted this might have been his last season as a player. So he moves into the coaching side, at least was considering opportunities, and now seems to have signed a contract somewhere or other. Where could that potentially be? That is very much unclear though, right? Because there's a lot of teams right now. Of course, we had the whole Coach Mania stuff with Revan disappearing, with that Florida not really knowing what they're doing. Most of the teams probably keeping hold of what's going on there, but of course we don't know what the Paris situation is going to be. We don't know what the Washington team, if that is going to be a team, what they're going to do. We don't even know really what OpTic Chicago are doing, right? Are they keeping Sender? If Rambo is going to be the key driving force of their coaching staff over there, if it becomes OpTic Dallas, right, and it retains under the MV branding. So big questions really. Loony says it is official. Of course, Crone comes in the reply hinting that yes, this may well very much indeed be an announcement that is coming relatively soon. What team could it potentially be for? A couple of people did notice this, that ILLey had liked this tweet. So okay, maybe it's going to be like OpTic Dallas or something, right? I mean, maybe it's not out of the question, but I wouldn't necessarily put my house on it. At the same time, that there's also plenty of other teams that he could be going to. This came out from Revan at the end of August when he was like, yeah, I'm free agent for this upcoming season. Kind of a surprise really if New York are looking to get rid of Revan, or if Revan was looking for other opportunities elsewhere, and what New York even decided to do next year. There's a few other teams that could be considered. I think that some people were looking at Florida Mutineers, for example, because they let go of Atura and they actually picked up their kind of assistant coach in Willett, who then joined as their head coach. You can see here in the bio. I'm not sure there's been an official announcement on this, but it's in the bio. So kind of interesting to see how that one has gone. Maybe they feel like they need some extra support, but I would imagine Loony would be either a fantastic head coach or like he's just a great analytical guy. Like he has a fantastic mind for Call of Duty. I think he can do a great job as a coach, but I wonder what role that'll be in, right? Whether it's a head coach, whether it's kind of an assistant, strategic coach for some of these other rosters. I'm sure that a lot of teams are looking to expand their staff, especially because, some of them I'm sure they have seen what FaZe have done this last year and decided, okay, well, we have, they have 4 players, but they also have 4 members of their coaching and analyst staff, right? They have, of course, Crowder as their head coach. They have RJ as kind of their assistant coach, easyMac as their analyst, and then they've got, Tupac Thuglord, right, as their kind of search and destroy analyst, kind of strategist, I suppose. So they've got 4 guys over there. I mean, Toronto have 3 guys over there. I'm pretty sure they've got Joe, former Joe Pinnington doing the flanks. You guys might remember that maybe if you've been around for a few years ago. They've got Flux over there as well, an OG Call of Duty professional, and then they've got Marky B as well. So Toronto and FaZe between them have 7 members of coaching talent between just the 2 teams, which is far more really than the other teams have. A lot of them have combined, let's be honest. So of course, they have great players as well and great chemistry, but certainly it helps to have a bigger staff behind them, and maybe some of these other teams are thinking something relatively similar. This then that comes out from the Call of Duty League yesterday, saying goodbye to a Call of Duty legend at Formal, a full tribute they do right here. It's a great video. If you guys want to check out the entire thing, I'll leave it linked down below. But at many interesting moments in this, to be honest, from what was heard this entire season, but also just kind of how things went for OpTic Chicago this entire year. Just thinking of what a fantastic player Formal was. We didn't necessarily see that too much this year. Scump going on to talk about right here the fact that it seemed like Formal was pretty keen to retire relatively early in the season, right? He actually brought it up to them earlier in the season that it was a possibility, and when that was happening, it felt relatively likely, I suppose, for Scump and the other guys that it would indeed have been the case. A lot of talk really about some great stories of when Formal first came on the scene. We'll talk about here in just a second, but also from recent times, right, where he was a massive grinder, played a lot of search and destroy chals, and also his communication being fantastic through his entire career, and those kind of things maybe dropping off really, not the communication, but the grind and this kind of attitude that they're discussing in this video kind of I suppose went away the last couple of years, maybe this last year especially, given that he was maybe indicating his intention to retire, and I'm sure that didn't exactly help OpTic Chicago as they look to prepare for the rest of their, the rest of the season. So I'll share a couple of minutes of this for you guys on screen. It's a great video, and there's a fair few interesting things being said.
Well, he was already talking to us about it. Throughout the year, he was like, I don't know, if I want to play next year. And you don't bring that up, to your teammates unless you're, actually thinking about it. You can troll about it. I mean, I troll about it all the time. But, if you bring it up to your teammates, it's pretty serious at that point was before I was teaming with him. We were about to play at Call of Duty Champs and Ghosts. Formal just joined the scene. You know, he was cocky. He was feeling himself. So we were about to play TK round 1 winners. Formal walks over to me backstage before we're about to go on stage, and he says, "Here's your chance to finally play me."
I'm known for pure skill, the raw talent, just going around and just killing people.
And then we 3-0'd him so quick, and me and him always joke about it, like, to this day. God, you're stupid, dude.
No, I'm not.
You just saw him and like his skill and everything like that, but once you got on a team with him, nobody understands how much time and effort he actually takes to put into the his craft to try to become the best.
I think he really just committed to the Call of Duty scene. The big thing that I noticed was that when I was teaming with him is he would play a ton of S&D tournaments. Search and Destroy is a whole new ball game for Halo players. Like, they don't play it over there. There's nothing even comparable to it. He really committed to it, like I said, and I think that was the difference.
I can't believe Formal was able to find him there.
Formal's unique ability was definitely his communication. His comms are probably up there with some of the best in the league, maybe, you know, the best in the league.
Honestly, was such a good vocal leader. He taught me like just how to have like really good composure and how to become a better teammate.
For some of the OG fans who've been watching for a while, I think they remember the pure dedication that he had. He was the guy when OpTic was having the struggles, like he was in 8 day in and day out. The passion was always there. He was a player who would take matters into his own hands, hold himself responsible, and like work through it and figure it out. So I think the fans will remember a true MVP, an honorable player, and a guy who could really get it done by any means necessary.
He said that he was going to be retiring, and he actually didn't tell us that until he tweeted it, essentially. So it was a bit out of the blue, and definitely surprising for sure.
So I think that story, especially that Scump went into when they were like playing the OpTic team when he was on Team Caliber way back in the day, the term, you know, Formal was like, you finally get to play me or whatever, and Scump was like, who even is this guy? And of course they ended up becoming, well, arguably the greatest duo in COD history, a lot of people would say, and I think for very good reason indeed. And well, this is, as you can see, Formal's come up into Call of Duty. It was a very interesting one because, of course, he came over from Halo. Immediately, by the time he went to this Gfinity 3 event and they won it on Envy, like when he just joined this team, like straight away people were considering Formal to be one of the best players in the entire game. And that's incredible, really, the fact that he came into Call of Duty not too long before that, came in on Primal with some other Halo guys, the likes of Enable, who of course also made it in the COD scene. Then he went to Fear, then he went to Team Caliber, and then pretty much just team hopped his way up very quickly. Like, it's incredibly impressive that within 1 year from playing his first ever Call of Duty LAN in November 2013, he joins OpTic just a year later. Like, that just goes to show that, yes, maybe loyalty does help to some degree with different teams and different teammates, but you know, if you're getting better, if you're better than your teammates, then doing some team hopping like this from Fear to TK to FaZe back to Envy and then to OpTic is, well, certainly a reasonable way to go. But they won a couple of events back here in the Ghost days, and of course then joined the OpTic dynasty that continued for many years after that. So interesting to hear the perspectives really on that, well, of what Formal used to do back in the day, like always used to be on, like the grind was out of control, the communication was fantastic, but yeah, a surprise really to Scump and the rest of the OpTic guys that he actually decided to step away when he decided to, because I mean, I'm pretty sure Scump maybe hinted at it before, but he says pretty openly right there, the fact that yes, like when Formal did tweet that was pretty much when we knew that he was actually going to be retiring. He hadn't told us earlier in the day that he was going to be retiring or something, and he was going to be tweeting that later in the day. He just did it on his own back, and it came as a surprise really to the entire team, and they had to figure out what was going on from there. Of course, they knew it was a likely possibility, but they didn't know it was happening as it exactly happens, which I'm kind of surprising. And of course, really looking back on some of the things that have been said, you can certainly see why maybe OpTic had a harder time this season than maybe you would have expected them to, and Formal didn't necessarily perform to the level that we've seen him at in previous years. This I thought also was interesting though, as Josh Lee points out, this is, you know, he's a producer for the Call of Duty League. My final project for CDL 2021. I thought this video was, well, they've done a great job here. My contract ends with them next week, he says, so let me know if you want to make some cool stuff together in the off-season. Interesting stuff if the CDL aren't going to bring this guy back on, because, I mean, you know, I think the content for the COD League in general has been pretty good this year, but I don't think they necessarily want to step down the amount of people that are working on it, and maybe they're bringing some other people in, it's tough to say, but, you know, of course we saw them, like, we saw Activision in general got rid of a load of, like, events people or something in the middle of this year, or, like, at least people related to you know, competitive esports, just because, well, largely I think maybe because it was going online and cutting cost measures, but also because you maybe need less staff to do stuff online. So there's a few different elements to this, but I certainly don't think we want the CDL to step down what they're doing in terms of content production, but you know, so maybe something to keep your eyes on going forward as well. I thought this was particularly well done. Of course, this Masters as well, I thought was kind of entertaining, you know. Of course, the replies, as you can see right here, you know, who even got on my Twitter in this situation, but of course they go way back. I mean, the Huntsman team team, for example, in Call of Duty Modern Warfare on, you know, Chicago Huntsman, of course, when they were teaming on that squad. And Arcitys was kind of like even the flex of that year, right? Like he was using the MP5 at times, just because, I mean, that game was MP5 dominant, of course. But FaZe also did a similar thing I thought was pretty cool. I mean, we've got some great content really coming out of the scene. Like, I don't think a lot of it gets enough love. I think it's good from the FaZe guys. They're coming out, of course, with the, you know, the unfazed series that they do from the Major 5, like deleted scenes, unseen footage, kind of a documentary stuff from behind the scenes. I think it's great to see. It's great to build the personality of the players. I think there's other things these other organizations to do as well to build some personality with the players. I think Los Angeles Grillers are doing a great job in that sense, making more relatable content that isn't necessarily in real life stuff, just to, you know, get the fans well in tune with what the players are thinking and how those players operate and the personalities of those guys, and then people would be more engaged when series like this come out for the other teams. So I think it's a similar model that other teams can most certainly follow. Of course, a great Stage 5 moment here from CDL moves where, of course, they were defeated by, well, Classic and the Seattle Surge at that major. And well, just to finish off with this, I thought it was funny because we were talking about Simp. This is an image that came out. It just cracks me up every time. Happy National Sunset at Octane, says Enable here, and well, Octane comes back with this in the reply. This is, of course, I mean, it's kind of not safe for work, but this is from the Black Ops 4 World Championship, I imagine, because we've got Simp here and Clayster on the United side. I mean, I'm pretty sure this is like Black Ops 4 Simp, just looking at how his hair is and everything, and just like, what is he considering? Like, he's looking at Enable thinking, what's going on here? And you got Crowder on 100 Thieves, of course, the coach of that team as well. And I guess Enable stretching it out before going into battle for the championship. But very much intrigued to get thoughts on all this stuff in the comment section below. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did enjoy it, I'd greatly appreciate a like on the video. I'm really upset that YouTube are going to know you enjoyed this content. Other people like you may enjoy this content as well. And I've grown the competitive Call of Duty community. Thank you for watching as always. Take care. And I will see you next time. And Enable, I guess, stretching before well, he was going to get absolutely railed. Oh my god. I can't say that.